What is up, YouTube? It's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome to Horrorpalooza review number 3. This is a 1956 sequel, the first sequel in the Godzilla series. It's the one This is the one I did not grow up with as a kid because they never had it on VHS when I was a kid. So I saw it later in my life as an adult, and I got it on DVD at Best Buy. It's a decent watch. It's not the greatest movie, but it's not the worst. And that is Godzilla Raids Again. This is his first fight with Anguirus, the the spike-backed dinosaur-looking creature. There's a picture of him, Anguirus. And for the first sequel that was rushed out because the original Godzilla was such a huge hit, it still holds up though. I think it's a very underrated sequel. Like, it's a horror film. It's not as gruesome and it's not as dark in tone as the original Godzilla from 1954, but it still holds up. Like, I think the effects still look great on Anguirus and on Godzilla. And basically, it's these two guys are on an island and they find Godzilla and Anguirus fighting each other on an island, and they're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe Godzilla didn't die." And these are different characters from the first film, except for Dr. Yamane, he returns. And it's a film that's underrated. I would recommend getting this DVD and watching the Japanese version because it has an awesome score. It's a much more coherent film. It's longer than the dubbed version, and they call him Gojira in the film. And in the American version, it's severely edited like Suicide Squad. It has a lot of narration. And the only way to get through that English dub is to hear the commentary, because the commentary is pretty good. But there's a lot of stock footage, and stock music, and it's just really weird. The fight scenes are the same, but a lot, and Godzilla's roar is different. It sounds like Anguirus in the dubbed version. I'm like, just stick with the Japanese version of this. It's definitely better, and that's the way to see it. That's the way it was intended to be filmed, and that's the way to see it. And I like the effects. I think the effects look really good with the two giant monsters fighting. There's some scenes that they're speeding towards each other because the cameras were, out of. This is before digital cameras came out, HD cameras where they filmed everything, in your face like this, the way I am now. But hey, it is a monster movie. It's a kaiju film from the 50s. The acting's not the greatest, but I do like the actors in this. I like the lead guy. He was in Godzilla vs. Mothra and Godzilla 1985, and a bunch of other stuff. I like him as an actor. The girls are cute that are in the film, and these are the names of the young pilots: Skioka and Kobayashi, like the Japanese food eater from the hot dog eating contest. And for a horror film, yeah, there's some scenes that are pretty dark. Like, of course, you got Godzilla destroying not Tokyo but Osaka in this one. And there's an oil refinery that he blows up, and and his teeth are really creepy. It's like really sharp teeth, and he's still as menacing as in the first film. He still blows up some planes, and he's still a bad guy. And this is the second Godzilla, because the first one disintegrated with the oxygen destroyer in the original. Spoiler alert! But there's no bad edits, and even in the English dub, there's no American actors added. There's no Raymond Burr. There's none of that. It's just some incoherent stuff. But in the Japanese version, it's much better. I haven't seen this in ages, the Japanese version, because I'm lazy. I don't like reading subtitles sometimes, but it's still fun. If you're looking for a monster movie, if you can find this online or get a copy of it on DVD or Blu-ray, it's worth your time. I think it's good for one watch. If you like, oh, it's not as good as the original, just go in knowing it's a sequel. The first sequel in the Godzilla series. And I've been watching Godzilla movies since I was a kid. So watching this as an adult, I'm like, okay, so this is the first monster versus monster fight in the Godzilla movie, which that holds a special place in my heart just for that. Because it's the first time we got to see Anguirus, the first time we got to see Godzilla fight another monster in a city. And it was a tradition that was passed on to the other films, and even the 2014 movie, that movie that people bitched about so much. And it wasn't that bad. Give me a break. It was better than Suicide Squad. A lot of movies are. But this is not a bashing on that. That movie I'm not reviewing until next year. But Godzilla Raids Again is a fun monster movie to watch during this Halloween season. It qualifies because I've never reviewed this. I've reviewed the original, and a bunch of the sequels. But this one, it's underrated. I don't think it's horrible. Some people found it like not very interesting, but I think it's decent. Like one watch, and it'll probably do you some good. And you get to see awesome practical effects by Eiji Tsuburaya, who that man could do it no wrong when it comes to effects. The guy did some of the best kaiju, effects that I've ever seen in all the Godzilla movies that he did, and Rodan and Mothra. The man was a genius when it came to special effects. Just very imaginative, creator of. He was basically the George Lucas of Japan, and it's a fun movie. If you're looking for something fun and lighthearted, it's only 81 minutes. It's not going to take you 2 hours, and it's to the point, and it's not as great as the original, but it still has some merit to it. So, it's decent. I would say watch it once, especially with the horror films that are coming out this month. I would rather see this than Ouija 2 or whatever, or that Blair Witch movie 2016, which I'm not interested in. But anyway, that's Godzilla Raids Again. It is flawed, it is kind of short. There's some bad editing in the dubbed version, but it's a monster movie. There is a lot of Godzilla in it, so you're not going to get ripped off. And I would stick with the Japanese version. At least that one's coherent. Like BVS, the Ultimate Edition, is definitely better. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm loving this Horrorpalooza. I'm glad you guys are watching it, enjoying yourselves, and watch Godzilla Raids Again if you can. Later.